the agenda for today. So,
You want to announce that Louise is on the...
oh yeah, we have Louise on telephone for the conference, for the meeting for today.
And Louise does have the packet at home, so she can follow along with her packet at home.
Okay. Sounds good. Can I get a motion for approval of the agenda?
I make the motion.
Okay. Packet. Sounds good. Did everybody get a chance to read through the previous minutes and from the meeting last month? Any additions, corrections, changes, or anything? No? Okay. Motion to approve our minutes. Louise?
Yeah.
You gonna motion that for me?
I will motion that also.
A second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, new board members' introductions.
So in your packet, we have the updated Community Services Advisory Board listing. And our new members include Bonnie Scott, who was at our last meeting. She works with CASA and will be the Mitchell Volunteer Program representative. We also have joining us Whitney, and she's from Avera, and she will be our Palace Transit representative. And right beside me, we have Wanda, and she is our James Valley Community Center representative, and she's a member of the JVCC. We did an orientation about 2 weeks ago and went over all the programs, and they should be up to speed, I hope.
Okay, great. Welcome. Okay. Transit legislation.
Well, what's going on is the South Dakota Transit Providers Association met. I thought I printed it off. I messed that up. Last week, I think it was, or a couple weeks ago. It was a Friday. And we are going to propose legislation to increase state funding. We are working with a senator and a representative who will sponsor a bill to possibly add a fee, a $2 fee, onto the driver's license, which is 40 cents a year over the 5 years that you have a driver's license. And this fee will generate additional funds to go to the it'll go to the South Dakota Transit Providers. So that's what we're hoping to obtain this year. We are doing Transit Day at the legislature on the 15th of January. We're going to get together and meet the night before on the 14th, but our lobbyist is working on this legislation with the senator and representative that will be introducing it.
Okay. Okay. Second meals.
Our second meals, because of shipping, the prices of them from our supplier Traditions has not increased over the year and a half that we've had the program. But with everything, there's inflation, and their shipping costs have gone up. So the prices of the meals have gone up minimally, if you ask me. We look at the prices, and they've gone up maybe 10 cents a meal, not very much. So we're going to continue to leave our prices as is because that won't affect us too much. But we are introducing new meals. We will be eliminating the chicken patty and mushroom Swiss with rice, the cheese lasagna with meat sauce, the cheese pizza, the chili with beans, and the barbecue pork riblets. And we'll be replacing them with, it's on your flyer I put on each of your spots, or replacing it with a pork patty with barbecue sauce, which is actually similar to the barbecue pork riblets, but it has better sides, because this one that we're replacing with has red skin potatoes and whole kernel corn, whereas the riblets had cauliflower and green peas blend, which weren't very popular. We're also getting meatballs over noodles and marinara sauce. We thought that'd be a good replacement for the lasagna. Then we'll also be getting D, meatballs and Alfredo shell pasta, which we thought would be a good replacement for the pizza, especially since the pizza didn't have meat. This gives them another meat option. And we're also getting the K on the other side. It's the ham and cheese egg bake with the hash browns and broccoli. And the other one is M, beef patty over cheesy rice with whole kernel corn and broccoli. So those are the meals that we're replacing them with. We will not be doing the replacement until our next order, and we will not be providing these meals until our other ones are gone. But once the ones are gone, those 5 that we're getting rid of, they're gone, they're gone. We won't be bringing those back.
Okay. Blizzard meals.
We did our blizzard meals that are required for us to do by the state. We put out our order, what we wanted, what we were going to include in it, and everybody had like a month to make reservations if they wanted to order one or whatnot. And we had them at $2 a piece, and we ended up doing 32 of them.
And we ended up buying all the supplies local instead of shipping. Before, when we had a larger amount, we shipped in large amounts, so we ended up buying them locally here, so that way we didn't have to bring in a big shipment of products.
Okay. How many is that compared to last year?
Last year we did right around 80, I believe. Down a little bit.
Okay. The nutrition hunger tree.
Well, we've met our goal. We had a goal of $4,080, which is 51 people. So now we are going to go for trying to double it so everybody can have 2 tickets. So right now we're at $5,256. So we're really pushing to double our goal. And then next week I will get the cards ready and stuff, and we'll get them sent out.
And both radio stations have publicized this and have gotten it out there. The newspaper has not contacted us yet. I've sent them a couple press releases and information about the program, but they haven't contacted us back. But both radio stations have done that.
Yeah, I heard it on one of them. So
Actually, I've done a little better this year. Not far as money-wise, but in the past, it seems like that last week, maybe week and a half, is when we got all our money. So for us to already have our goal met, and then we can continue to grow it.
sounds good. And even if that's all we get, it's still great. So okay.
We can do the non-emergency medical transportation.
Okay. Non-emergency medical transportation.
Okay, so what non-emergency medical transportation is, it's providing transportation for non-emergent situations. We're not bringing them to the emergency room. We can bring them to the hospital and those kind of things for, again, non-emergency type of situations. It's kind of a national trend where people are trying to partner with the hospitals and trying to partner with the ambulance systems to try to relieve the ambulance systems from having to provide these rides where they're utilizing their staff when it's a non-emergency type of a situation. I met with the state, seeing if it was something that we can possibly do. I've talked to a couple of other transit providers who are providing similar type services. We can do this non-emergency medical transportation as long as it is part of our current service that we have set up, and it cannot be emergency. We still cannot do same-day rides except for wheelchair patients, because then that would be breaking that charter regulation. So we'd have to still make sure the rides are set up a day in advance unless it's a wheelchair. We'd have to set up a schedule or a time frame. It can't be just for medical rides. It still has to be public transportation, and it has to be open to the public. One thing we talked about is we have a lot of patients from Avera that have to go to Sioux Falls for medical appointments to meet with specialists. we talked about possibly utilizing one of our minivans to provide that transportation for them because they are struggling.
There's definitely a need for that, Mitchell.
Yeah, I know, Louise, you've had that issue too, finding transportation at an affordable cost.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
so if we could do this at an affordable cost for the members of the public without, we've had people take the ambulance just for a ride to get to Sioux Falls for a doctor's appointment. If we can free up the ambulance for those type of services, that's what we're hoping to do. What we'd have to do is, again, set up that time schedule, and it can't be just for medical, but we'd say we're going to Sioux Falls on these days from this time, and this is the cost. That's what we would probably try setting up doing. I would like to meet with the hospital and talk to them about it. So I would, when we're done talking here, I'd like to have your approval to talk to the hospital. We'll meet with Marius, who is also in charge of the ambulance system here in Mitchell, and have him meet with them as well. We talked to Lyndon and Marius about this, and they would love to have this grow and be a possibility, so it's not a strain on their service right now. And trips cannot be to a specific group, so they can't be specifically for Avera. They can't be specifically for Sanford or a group. It has to be open to everybody. We have to make sure that all the changes that we make are reflected in the passenger handbook and in all of our printed materials. I did meet, or like I said, I talked to a couple of other transits in South Dakota. One is Watertown Area Transit, and they partner with Prairie Lakes Hospital, and they have a contract with them to provide the medical services, as well as Spearfish works with Rapid City Regional Health, and they provide transportation for them as well. So these are things that I would like to do, talking to both the Sanford Clinic and the Avera Hospital and clinics about doing this as a possibility. So I guess if the board is okay with it, I would like to pursue this.
Okay. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah. Would this be something that Medicaid would reimburse for Medicaid patients?
For Medicaid patients, yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Anybody opposed to her going to those?
And we have different, the ambulance system, it costs them a lot of money, and it costs the patients a lot of money to do these type of transportation trips. So this would be at a lower rate, and Medicaid would more likely reimburse than they would with the ambulance.
Yeah, there's definitely a need. I know through just working with, that I work with, sometimes even finding a reliable, they might be able to find a friend to do it, but is that friend going to be up that morning to take them? So we really do need
Louise, you'd agree with that, wouldn't you?
I can verify that.
Yes. Okay.
I will pursue that option then.
Okay. Department reports? Or?
I don't know if Sonia's going to be coming or not.
Okay.
So I don't know, can we, John, do you know, are you a voting member? You're not. And a quorum has to be more than half. We'd have to have 5.
Yeah, we only have 4 with Louise
Okay.
online.
Okay. Well, we can talk about the other items.
Okay.
We just can't make a decision.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So let's
Right.
just go from the beginning.
Okay. So the Palace Transit hours of service.
So what we would like to do, we obviously can't do that today, but maybe we can come up with a special meeting and hold a quorum. But what I'll do is I'll at least review it with you. Our funding that we applied for $685,443. And as I stated at a previous meeting, we were only awarded $377,873. So we have a funding shortage of $307,570. So we've been coming up with ways to reduce these costs, which we didn't hire the one full-time position that we had open to save, because ridership is down and we don't have the funds to obviously hire that person. Another area we looked at is our weekends. I talked to Mark Limberg, who's on our board, and he's our LifeQuest representative, because this would affect mostly his clientele that he serves, and he was okay with this change. What we would request doing is cutting our hours on Saturdays and eliminating the 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock and only operate to 4 p.m. And Sundays, eliminate 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m. and only operate until 2 p.m. We did the sheet that you have in front of you is an 8-week snapshot, the last 2 months of what we provided for ridership over the weekends. Over those 8 weeks, we gave 83 rides on a Saturday, so about 10 rides a day. And then Sundays, we did the 43 rides, so about 5 rides a day over those 8 weeks. The ones that are going to church, those church wheelchairs, are going Saturday night, and they do have the option to go Sunday morning. So it is, and these are all one-way trips. So these could be, 5 passengers, not 10 passengers. But like I said, the ones that were going to church that were wheelchair were able to go on a Sunday. They just choose to go on a Saturday night, which I understand. And then the social rec, they had an activity, and that's why so much of them were on that one time. Otherwise, the work people could take the public taxi. Our income versus just the driver expense, which does not include the vehicle, the gas, and all that. The revenue lost over the total 8 weeks was $1,307.60, and that's just the income versus the driver expense. So I'd like your opinion on cutting our service hours, and we would like to do it starting the beginning of the year. But again, we'll probably have to have a special meeting to make these changes, but I would love your opinion beforehand if there's something I should change, pursue, look otherwise. But this is the best options that we came up with. Like I said, I have all the riders' names, what they were doing, where they're going.
Make money somehow.
Right.
The Sunday hours that you included here are just the 2 to 5.
Just the 2 to 5, yep.
So the more Sunday morning services, in other words, are not.
It will not affect those, correct. It's just the evening hours, the afternoon.
There aren't any other options for wheelchair for public transportation, right?
Correct.
That's where the big issue would come into.
Correct. That's why we wanted to make sure that we weren't, there was, out of those 43 rides, 8 of them were wheelchair rides, and 2 of them were to work, and that's just because his schedule changed that day. It was a one-way, it was a round trip, and his work schedule happened to change that day.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like 6 of them were to social things, which could be changed.
Correct.
So, yeah, as far as Sunday goes, it doesn't look like it would affect too many people.
And on the other days, the regular riders can still use the other taxi services.
Correct.
Okay.
So we'll have to line up a time to approve or come up with another option. Do you have any other options you want me to explore before we do this?
In that area, in the summer, fall time, the Sunday afternoon is like this going to Longbow, and I think that would maybe seriously affect them. I don't know
Okay.
how many play from their wheelchairs, but I know at least a couple of them do.
We can check into that.
Yeah, but during the winter, that would not be an issue.
Yep. We can pull the reports easily for summertime.
Maybe we can have different hours in the summer.
Correct. Yep. Okay, we'll have to come back to this.
What are the hours Monday through Friday?
5:30 to 8, 5:30 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Thank you.
Okay. Palace Transit contracts.
We can't really cover that. That's just our annual contracts. We'll have to do that in that special meeting as well.
Okay.
Just the ones that are up for renewal.
Okay. Department reports and updates.
So you'll find in here the Palace Transit report. As you can see, we again have it split with the Head Start funding separated. With the 5311, that's our federal funded rides that we can count to the state. We are actually down rides, but but last year we could count Head Start. This year we cannot. So with the Head Start overall, we're actually above on ridership. It just won't reflect that on our state report. And the same with the miles. We're down on miles, but we're up, which is not the best thing to be up on miles, but the Head Start route is a lot of extra miles.
Is that all with that one? Yep. Okay. Mitchell Volunteer Program.
In your packet was just the list of how many volunteers we're at the time, and just a few facts on that. We have the 251 volunteers. Then it's just the kind of some of the areas where some of the volunteers in November we're working with some of the projects. And we did do our MVP volunteer fair, and that was a good turnout, right?
Yeah. Our vendor show.
Yeah.
Yep. Our vendor show, we had 301 people. I think we had 401.
Yeah.
401 people come through the door is the most we've ever had.
Okay. Adult Nutrition Program.
Also in your package, you'll see our nutrition program. It'll have the results for November. The top part is, the overall from our fiscal year that started in June through November, and then the bottom will be your monthly November, and the other page will be just November also. We are down for the month of November, 325 meals, and for our fiscal year, 726 meals.
But a lot of that has to do with the frozen meals, because last year was the first November we had the frozen meals. We expect the counts to be down this year compared to last year because the newness of the frozen meals has worn off, but they are still very popular and go very well, just not like they were at the beginning.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because in November last year we did 1,301 of the frozen meals, and this year we did 786.
To be expected.
Yep.
I think there'll be a difference with the new hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the serving hours I think will really help counts.
That's starting January 1, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else with that, Amy?
Nope.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. JVCC.
The JVCC has been doing, again, lots of fun activities. They just got back from a bus trip last night. Wanda had the opportunity to go on that. The quilt raffle is going very well. They held the turkey bingo in partnership with the Legion this last Sunday, and they sold a lot of quilt raffle tickets to that as well. It's been busy. They've been doing well. Membership is out and available right now. The new membership cards are in, and people are renewing their memberships as well right now.
Okay.
And then, John, we took your advice on the newsletter, sending that out, and then they'll be making calls for people who haven't renewed.
Good. Anybody have anything else? We have to do the citizens input thing.
Yeah. Citizens input. And
Citizens
technically,
input. There's no one here right now, so.
Does anybody here have anything you want to add and talk about?
Okay.
And technically, there's no adjournment, and even though Louise, you did a great job approving the minutes, and
It doesn't actually count.
an agenda doesn't count.
Yeah, we did.
We're keeping you up to date.
You know it?
We're not on TV anymore.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, we are.
Oh, we are.
are you?
Yep. We're good to go. Well, thank you for Louise for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Good luck today.
Yeah.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Our next meeting date, we'll get an email, I'm guessing, out
Yeah.
for the special meeting date.
That one by January.
Yeah, we'll get a special meeting date out, and we'll email out probably like a Survey Monkey or whatever and find out what works for everybody.
Okay. Just watch for that.
Yes, we'll have, because like I said, I'd like to make the changes if possible for January, so I'd like to get these approved, any of the contracts approved as well, so we'll just have to get another quick 5-minute meeting.
Okay.
Well, thanks, everyone.
Meeting adjourned.
Were there some that maybe come and
Yep.
did that?